Hello everyone, my name is Vidhyanshi Billowria and I am a volunteer at Shivi Forensics. Today I'll be discussing the topic fingerprint minutiae and ridges. So let us first understand what minutiae are. Minutiae are the small specific individual characters found in the fingerprints that makes them unique. They are what we actually use to compare the fingerprints and decide whether they belong to the same source or not. Next, we have fingerprint ridges, also called as friction ridges. They are the raised strips of skin found on your palms, fingers, the soles of your feet and toes. As the name suggests, these ridges increase friction and helps us to grasp rough surfaces. Now let's look at the anatomy of a ridge. First, we have the outermost layer called the epidermis that you can touch. Then the inner supporting layer called the dermis. And lastly, there are small projections between the dermis and the epidermis called the dermal papillae. It is these dermal papillae which determine the kind of ridge patterns on your skin's surface. Now, a notorious person must have had this thought that if fingerprints are of such great importance, then they can be distorted by superficial cuts on the skin. But here's the interesting fact. Superficial cuts do not change your fingerprints. The ridges will grow back in the exact same pattern because the template is deep in the dermis. You would have to damage your skin at least 1 to 2 mm deep to permanently alter the print. Now, a curious mind must think that what about twins? They have everything similar, so are their fingerprints also the same? Here's the catch. Even identical twins have unique fingerprints. This is because fingerprints are formed due to the random pressure by the amniotic fluid on the embryo during the embryonic development and is not dependent on the genes. These patterns are formed on the skin in the early embryonic development and remains constant throughout the life. This uniqueness and individuality of our fingerprints is what makes them a very crucial evidence in investigations. Now, since we have understood what minutiae are, let's understand their types. First is ridge ending. It is a ridge that simply stops. It travels along and then abruptly terminates. The second is bifurcation. It is a ridge that splits into two branches and looks like a Y shape letter. Third is the short or independent ridge. It is a ridge that travels a small distance and then stops. The fourth is island or a dot ridge. It is a ridge that is so short that it looks like a dot. Next is enclosure or lake. It is a ridge that splits and then immediately rejoins, creating a small empty oval in the center. Next is spur or a hook. It is a bifurcation where one branch is very short and ends quickly. Next is a bridge or a crossover. It is a short ridge that runs between two parallel ridges connecting them. And the last is trifurcation, which is a rare occurrence where one ridge splits into three branches at a single point. Here's a chart showing the diagrams of all the minutiae patterns that we have discussed so far. That was our topic, fingerprint minutiae and ridges. Thank you so much for watching.